Yeah, while I'm fighting my bankruptcy, foreclosure, eviction, garnishment case for years without tears, I didn't tell any judge I don't see obstacle as opportunity as they did do their willful reckless violation under all these type of fraud upon the court. When I try to tell Judge Cat on my order to show cause as they brought in a petition on the case of harassment with a void sale, void deed foreclosure, these judges didn't seem to care one bit. And I am asking seriously the question, how comes these bankruptcy court judge or judges didn't know what was going down with Foreclosure Abuse Prevention Act as it now kicked in more so into law throughout the years? For people like me to be after fighting for the past 23 years under unjust enrichment cases of harassment, deed fraud, void sale, void deed foreclosure, and judges, lawyers, banks, Wall Street, the works, trustee, referee, all telling lies. It's all government waste with government lies. That's robbing a lot of family and people like myself blindly of our retirement fund or home-based business to keep a roof over our kids' head with our home equity that we have developed into our house from rebuilding a brand new house with our kids having 23, 22 or more lead level in their blood throughout or before 2000. We've been combating this issue from 1996 into 2000, 2001 and more. Even concurrently throughout the average years or present moment in time. The justice system only sit on a three-legged chair and a three-legged table with this social injustice and such atrocity that's being done to people of color with their children, their hard work, their house, their home equity, their asset. These average judges in the court is like a set of gangster, like you're dealing with some form of gangster fear. Even though you're in the right, it's total embezzlement, robbery, hypocritical effort. See, I don't want to call any word to think anyone think I'm being disrespectful, but curse word ain't no bad word. It's just our password to get us through the day from all these stresses in life. Look up in the sky, you see why, as I'm making this podcast or this art creator seminar or much more to place on the internet currently, tell Judge Cat when she's going to teach me a lesson, I should put it, I dare not forget and consolidate May 29, 2001 and May 30th, 2001 as if I did speak Spanish or another language. You know, the type prejudice, malice, and bias, and worse, that's hypocritically going on in the court system to rob and thief people and bankrupt people, even when you file for bankruptcy protection under Chapter 13 with rental income of near 3 grand coming in from the house from a bed and breakfast I had put in a 2-room for to turn the ship around to have rental income. The home equity that we built up our own blood, flesh and tears to rehabilitate the house more than getting $1,000 fine monthly while our kids had lead poisoning as we was complying with New York City, New York State and federal law on the lead abatement or lead rehabilitation. The whole house was stamped back and forth, inside out, to have had lead poisoning 100% because it was a 1946 house and it was all lead-based paint. The inspector that came out and tested the house inside out to have said it's 100% or 1,000% or more all lead base. We would have to shell the house down. We couldn't sheetrock or paint over the lead. We'd have to gut it totally, like more so building a new house. That's what we was doing, building a new house. Tara, Dwayne, Akeem. Tara, Dwayne, not Akeem. Akeem is my grandson now. Micron, all had contracted lead poisoning that gave them serious learning disability. You know, lead poisoning can do more than give kids learning disability or adult learning disability. It also can cause far more environmental hazards within our health to give a lot of people more so cancer as time goes. So we have to hope and pray, to God that our health won't get any worse, even though government do their government waste on us with Wall Street and bank to add want to then come in and try to draw a bad card with our protection on the bankruptcy court that did not protect us. Our bankruptcy, I can tell anybody seriously, is a breach. The court system is being hypocritical to minority or people of color. It's total deprivation with the United States Constitution on a whole. Nothing has truly changed under Brown versus Board of Ed or slavery. It's all the same. It's all the same. It's crazy out here. Crazy as hell. You're in the right and you totally get ripped off on the government to cause far more destruction to our portfolio or retirement fund, and also treating our kids with separation and segregation under these wrong that you did to us on the deed fraud, willful reckless violation, criminally. It's deed fraud is criminal. It's forgery. It's far worse. Bias with malice, prejudice, and all others from one court to another, with Department of Justice covering up for the bank, covering up for Wall Street. Most of these judges don't even accept one paycheck anymore. It's all bribery. Corruption lead to bribery. It's not that they're getting a regular paycheck. Just do people wrong and do people social injustice, rob and thief people asset and destroy or portfolio or asset or an estate or retirement fund for our children. They also robbing our children. This is where the segregation, the separation, and all other tax fraud with government waste on the pre-foreclosure or foreclosure, eviction, garnishment, or all illegal lockouts with sale and auction as it continue, even within storage facility. Corporation and banks, which is the 1%, must outrun us all. When you talk about 9/11, much less the coronavirus, I believe strongly it was meant not just as they put it, but government is always lying. It's all lying from government with government waste when it comes to war and destruction of people. Because people are victim and also casualty of any type of war. Indigenous people must suffer time and time again. As you can see, this is why I'm holding the camera more so on the sky, the cloud, the tree, and much more for people to sense. Listen to the tree and the wind. It's like also telling its own story. I'm like laying back on this blanket in the park as I'm doing this, speaking out about Judge Cat in the Queen's Civil Housing Court, Judge Leverett, and other judges in the Queen's Civil Housing Court and Civil Court. On the record, the court administrative record with all of them is accountable. Also, under all the great writ that they try to destroy us under. It's all about them, not about indigenous people who was in the right to have want to willfully, recklessly violate us, to do their corruption, to take away one house under void sale, void deed foreclosure. I did beat the bank by an hour. The very same day of the foreclosure, September 22nd, 2000, I declare a chapter 13 and I, clearly stated. I stood on the outside of the bankruptcy court in Brooklyn, New York City. The court was then at Clinton Street, if I'm naming the street correctly right, Clinton Street. And they now move, however, a little distance from that area in a new court. And I won't have these judges go scotch-free, because not even the bankruptcy court judges them choose to want to acknowledge they overlooked these wrong. And if they did not overlook or did overlook these wrong, it just goes to show how criminal all of these judges is, from one court to another, to want to rob and thief, or at bank rob and thief, damage and injure us with total deprivation. The constitution within these courts is just not working anymore. You see the leaf how it's trembling on the tree? Look at it. These judges not doing their job to serve and protect with their oaths and bonds. They just hypocritical with how they destroy other people and family and children life. Even with our home equity for the reorganization plan, or I'd call it Ukraine bankruptcy, Brooklyn, Kings County bankruptcy court judge did sign the reorganization plan. But there's something I want to say. I did also, after she signed the reorganization plan, I did pay 2 months in advance. I believe more so the trustee is dirty, because he totally saw what my bankruptcy lawyer was doing to me, and he did send me to another corrupt lawyer that worked with the foreclosure consultants at Hillside Avenue in Queens, New York. After the first meeting, he told me if my lawyer not going to take back on my case, let him write the address, the phone number, and more, and I need to go to this lawyer that he's sending me to. But come to find out, the lawyer works with a foreclosure consultants who took $800 of my money before I ever filed for any such Chapter 13 bankruptcy in New York City, USA. So the foreclosure consultants came into the office with me and the lawyer that Trustee Michael had sent me to, and was telling the lawyer not to take my case, because I did ask Mr. Isaac Parcel to write him and tell him give me back my money, because he told me before I ever did file any form of Chapter 13, I need to burn down the house. And I said, damn, you're not serious. You took my money and you're gonna tell me that? You might as well give me back my money. He said he would not. So I went to the Human Rights Commissioner, Mr. Isaac Parcel in Queens, New York, to say this foreclosure consultant, Mr. J. Robin, is pretty much corrupt, dirty. He's criminal to have want to tell me, after robbing me my $800 that he took to go home and burn the house down. So I said, yo, you can give me back my money even if I have to go to Mr. Isaac Parcel and tell the story about what you're telling me to do. Because I never harm a fly in all my life to want to commit anything criminal to burn down the house. And he's telling the lawyer that Trustee Michael sent me to, the house is not worth nothing. If it's not worth nothing, why did the bank did their crime on the deed fraud? Why is all these judges involved in the corruption like a gangster affair? As a businesswoman, I do see obstacle as opportunity, because I was trying to close another acquisition at the time, even before I filed a Chapter 13 on September 22nd, 2000, because I was earning solid income renting my house to tourists as a bed and breakfast, just 2 room on the 2nd floor. It would give me $25 a day to stay there, but they hardly stay. They would more go out into New York City to tour the place, to enjoy their vacation, etc., etc. So provenly, I used to advertise in the Loot newspaper. That's the England newspaper, yellow newspaper that was publishing ads and more on an average daily, weekly, monthly, yearly basis in New York City. Anybody who know the Loot newspaper would remember it. And pretty much that's an evident package also for me, because if the Loot newspaper existed out of England And I even want to retrieve evidence package. Such is life, I could. So, frankly, you can hear the tree talking to us too. And Lord, this just now, so I'm speaking out about even Judge Jerome Fellow, as I did after I a second bankruptcy attorney who also took my money and took me for a ride. These bankruptcy attorneys so dirty. So people, when you paying a bankruptcy attorney by a money order or pay through your credit card, if they say they want strictly cash, get rid of them. Guys, these are the many way they rob us and even refuse to give us a receipt and don't turn up into court and much more. And then try to warn far more than they not doing, as they abandon people case and mess up people case just as much in the works. It's called professional malpractice with these lawyers, judges, referee, trustee, courts, Wall Street, banks, and much more. They all work together. So Judge Jerome Feller, he was another one, as the lawyer told me. I hired a lawyer actually to reopen my case, my first bankruptcy proceeding. And he was there saying to me, Sonia, it's best to file a second. But he was wrong, I was right. But this is how dirty and unprofessional these professionals can be. They don't even know right from wrong, as you trying to do things far more righteous. Tell him reopen my case. But he went ahead and filed a second, as he was saying it's best to file a second. Come to find out I was right, he was wrong. Because now the court wants to look at you as the more you file, they want to say it gets worse for you. And that's wicked. That's not nice. That's messed up. That's unprofessional and more. So these things I have to talk about if I'm going to become more so a foreclosure consultant to teach people, or a digital creator, or an art creator, or a digital marketing to tell people, beware of all these professional judges, lawyer, doctor, engine chief, you name it, banks, name it. Because Department of Justice don't want to do their job with the court system. They're more involved in the corruption, the cohesion, the prejudice, the malice. It's their house slave with the slave master still running the system to deprive us, to wipe us out, to mess up our life, to cause separation and segregation and far more injustice with social injustice. It's called unjust enrichment. Rob and thief, or asset and destroy, or portfolio, or retirement, or children, and much more. They're not just destroying me. I can tell you that for sure. Anybody who try to destroy my portfolio on the deed fraud, void sale, void deed foreclosure, or willful reckless violation with damages and injury, and at the same time threaten to take away my kids over and over as they did such atrocity eventually, I mustn't speak out. This is my story to tell. This is my story to say, not just me one as an individual was going through this. There's a lot of family, a lot of elderly, a lot of people was going through such atrocity with the government throughout the century or more. So the second judge, Judge Jerome Feller, he's going to tell me I need to realize he's gonna charge me for fraud. For what? Intimidate me when they committing fraud? Can you imagine they robbing and stealing my equity in my house? I filed chapter 13 to protect my house, and the bankruptcy the bankruptcy court judges them overlooking what the bank doing in foreclosure up to this day. But they want to chat shit to me, to intimidate me, to run by saying I'm committing fraud. So how come they didn't know the bank was committing fraud? If I'm committing fraud, what the bank was committing? I wasn't committing fraud. Straight up, I was trying to protect my asset, to keep a roof over my kids' them head. It was my home-based business at the said time, or rebuild and the home from top to bottom, shell it down totally, and build a brand new house to get rid of the lead-based paint, the environmental hazardous issue with lead-based paint, because the house was old. The house was said to be 1946, a 1946 house built in 1946. So we had was to shell, got this house all down from top to bottom, build over all the room, everything alike. Build even more room, extend, because we didn't have a legal basement at the time. We only have a cellar. But it was to bend down to go in the basement as a cellar. So we actually tell ourselves build a bathroom downstairs, another room, and another storage room under the kitchen floor. So it's like a near 2-bedroom, we could call that. As my son used to sleep in the basement with my nephew, with their bed as 2 different bedrooms. But also I told Kemar, since I wanted it as a bigger storage for my corporation, Unsecure Inc., and several EIN numbers that I might have been working on the 2, but not earning income from those EIN number, as I was put more so on the hardship with the immigration under my swearing notes to be a US citizen on the import-export. So I never gave up. Would continue to go to a lot of trade shows to interact with my peers, to keep these dirty judges off my shoulder with the corruption and the crime they was criminally doing to me and my children, my business, etc., etc. You know, and they just straight up corrupt. So tell the world I'm not gonna run from the corruption. It's 23 years now I'm fighting this, and still fighting it. I didn't tell any judge to rob and thief from me and cover up for the bank on the deed fraud, void sale, void deed, a case of harassment that they all overlooking with bankruptcy rule or section or code 362 1301 5010. The most mistake creditors make is to continue the foreclosure, to call us, to harass us, or much more to garnish our income or asset or property, and more so throw us under the bus like they think I'm a fool. I'm not a fool. How can I be a fool when I declare chapter 13 to reorganize my debt? Because we had equity in the house of over 400,000 as the market value was rising. Is the equity they wanted, just to liquidate or equity from a 64,000 mortgage, and the house was about to become near 400,000, 400,000 as the market value rose throughout the year. So they was hunting for people equity while trying to put us under hardship, evict us on our home with a void sale, void deed foreclosure, or much more with deed fraud violation. Assault violation, willful reckless violation by many judges, many courts. That's not following the United States Constitution to serve and protect. To serve and protect people when we're trying to protect our home or asset or income or business or children or home equity and much more. Don't give us any foul atrocity and think we mustn't look at the criminal activity with all these gangster affair or hypocritical act with the justice system on the Department of Justice or the entire court system. These prosecutor administration from one court to another must be held accountable for lying to us, for covering up crimes with banks, Wall Street, other investor, other corporation, other LLC. I was trying to close another acquisition even before filing for Chapter 13. And this is the type of mess these judges, unethical misconduct did to me. It's more than an atrocity. These judges crooked. Most of them need to be drawn off to jail. Judge Cat, Judge Levy, Judge Carla E. Crane, Judge Feller, many other judges in the housing court, the Queen Supreme Court judge even at one stage when I tried to have him vacate what Judge Cat was then doing to evict me, because she dismissed the case and tell me I won my case, but refused was to give me the paperwork to say that I win my case during the staying. This is not about the staying either. This is more than about the staying. Don't use the stay to trick us out our asset as you lift the stay. It's 1 hour after my bankruptcy filing, the bank continued to violate me with Section 362, Section 1301, Section 5010 with all these willful reckless violation. Section 362 and 1301 show the level of harassment and frustration, damages and much more they would be doing to me civilizedly. And if these judge is not conducting business civilizedly in the court, it's bad, unethical business practice with these judges under their oaths and bond that's corrupting the entire court system of the United States of America. Covering up for Wall Street crime, covering up for all the atrocity banks and Wall Street and other LLC and other investors and judges robbing and stealing from our portfolio or estate or retirement fund or tax. 10 other things they cumbersomely under conflict of interest and such atrocity with contragacity doing wrongfully to me with not giving me my bankruptcy protection while harassing me out of my bankruptcy to frustrate my peace, to cause damages, injure. You know the type of mental anguish I have because all these judges was doing their crime from one court to another. You ever hear about government lie, government waste, government atrocity? Government start war with people when they should be doing and making peace with us because of all the wrong they did to injure and damage us. It's worse than a big truck running over someone or killing someone. Thank God I'm still alive with my kids and I. Thank God I'm a fighter. Thank God, who God bless, no man curse. Thank God, God carrying me through the sun to deal with these judges that's crooked, corrupted, criminals. Trustee and all, no. Prosecutor and all, trustee, referee, judges, courts, administration, all covering up for these atrocity they doing while robbing people of their house, their equity, under bankruptcy, foreclosure, eviction, garnishment, and much, much more. To keep us silent, to break our heart, to take away our kids as they doing these atrocity hypocritically. They're not following the Constitution. They're being far more unconstitutional against us with the wrong, the unethical misconduct, the unethical corruption, the unethical cover-up and lies. So Judge Cat, Judge Levert, Judge Carla E. Crane, Judge Fellow, and other judges, they all get to retire as they rob and thief from so many family and destroy so many family. I'm not gonna say I'm the only family they destroy with my children. How much others did they do this to? Because it was a big thing to them to get rich overnight and switch. It was a big thing to them to cover up for the banks and all those who are involved to rob and thief and embezzle our entire asset, retirement fund, tax, 10 other things, 10 million other things if I have to put it that way. This is why you have social injustice, unjust enrichment. This is why you have slavery and murder out here. Because I'm not going to say they wasn't trying to murder me and my kids. They was. If it wasn't strong, the many breakdown we had, we were bounced right back like a bullet. But it breaks my heart up to this day, where I still have mental anguish as I talk about it. How can so many prosecution, court administration for different court exist and doing these hypocritical atrocity to rob people blind of their protection? You have an oaths and a bond where your oaths and bond said to serve and protect. But serve and protect who and what? That's what I'm crying out. And that's what my heart cries out for. When you're robbing and stealing from me and my kids and separating us under system of apartheid with the house slave and the slave master, I must agree to all of that. Conflict of interest or controversy that make us sick. Make us sick of judges who's supposed to conduct business fair and square in the court, corrupting the system and robbing just about everybody and anybody blind of their asset for banks and Wall Street and all others. Judge Fella and Judge Carla E. Crane just resigned. Not resign, retire. They should have resigned long time for corruption and more. And I'm watching a lot of other bankruptcy judges and before Judge Jill now. She telling me what Judge Carla E. Crane or any other judge had us to say. After I didn't agree with none of them. as they rob and steal our entire asset and portfolio to destroy our retirement fund and our children. Can't agree to that. Can't agree to criminal who call themselves judges that's under conducting the law on a three-footed table or a three-legged chair. Balance come through four-legged table and four-legged chair. Tell anybody that shit. So when you talk about judges being unethical with their misconduct, bias, prejudice, malice, and much more to corrupt the system and cover up their own crime, it's more than an atrocity. We're still under the house slave with the slave master who's still robbing and thieving from us. Century of robbing and thieving with slavery, war. Believe you me, no, where there's no peace, all we have is war, strictly war, because people want peace. So Mother Nature, what goes around comes around. That's why when you have a lot of people saying they could never be in a lot of people's shoes, never say never. Because Mother Nature surely know how to come and take care of this heaven and earth, to protect us all, to cleanse the earth from such atrocity that they're doing to a lot of indigenous people in and around the world, while 1% of them get to retire, get rich and switch. They don't just get a paycheck. Judge don't do wrong or corrupt the system just to get a paycheck, no. A one paycheck. Them get them pay in ones and twos and threes and four under bribery and corruption and much more. Tell the world that. See? So, for now, all the other judge them who want to join them and become far more criminal with such atrocity, let them try. Because I know, as an art creator, will make it my business to tell the world my story. Story of how many judges in the court system and many court administration destroying us right here in the United States of America. America need to clean the shit out of them own backyard before they continue fuck with the other country in their own backyard too. Because a lot of us immigrants come to America and we're being treated foul. We work hard like these judges and most of these civil servants that's robbing and stealing from us with the Worldwide Bank or any other bank, whether it be under the housing crisis, the foreclosure crisis, or the financial crisis. Because we can't be beating bank to file a Chapter 13 with income, equity in our home. Strong equity now that could pay out everybody and pay we out too. And judges robbing us with court of everything and anything while corrupting the general court system of the United States of America with the Constitution. Go for any other politician that try to change the Constitution in and out to corrupt the system too. Because this heaven and this earth that we're living under is called Mother Nature. And we're all indigenous people to say we'll work hard and we can tell our story more or less when others try to rob and thief and destroy us. Can you imagine if I did go try rob a bank? I wouldn't bleed prison long time, but when banker rob we with the court system and judges, they get away with the crime. Get to destroy our portfolio. Get to make us homeless, houseless. Get to rob and thief from the IRS and we, with our taxation and much, much more. I could draw a tax lawsuit for all these wrong that they did to me too. Fact that I'm suing the United States of America, and Judge Almond, I want to kick that judge badly from off my case. That she's trying to silence me more so than ever. When they see you know the truth, all they do is try to silence you from one court to another. Hell to the no. Remember what I just told you, as a businesswoman, I do see obstacle as opportunity. I can't know I'm in the right and so much judges, prosecutor, prosecution, prosecute. Yo, court administration from one court to another where fraud upon the court exists and I mustn't talk. It's my story to tell how these judges committing fraud by robbing and stealing and helping other bank and corporation do far more unjust enrichment against us all. I have to tell my story truthfully. This is my story. This is what sick me and my kids them. You know? Up to this day, sometimes on average we have mental anguish from such atrocity with the slavery mentality that still exists in this country of the United States of America. Slavery, they said it was abolished. Which part of it abolished when it's in our face? Let me just cut for now. I think a phone call coming. Slavery is still slavery. Slavery is still around us. We see it in our face, loud and clear with the slave master and the house slave with the slave master. Because a lot of people not doing for their own black people. As these judges, whether they black or white or people of color, still get a job under the justice system and more, they do likewise with the white to corrupt the system with the banks, the worldwide banks, Wall Street and much, much more. All these white scholar criminal, we got to talk about it with slavery and the Constitution, where we're not getting due process and much, much more. So for now, let me just cut, tape and edit and just upload this one over the internet. Because we have to learn to speak our peace. Speak now or forever hold your peace.